Welcome, 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 welcome to the the Elman Cafe. This is our second time of having a guest speaker, which will hopefully be every month, at least one to two, maybe sometimes three events. And I am so excited to have here my friend Karen Hand. We go back quite a few years now, and she is a board certified hypnotist. She is a certified instructor and trainer for quite a few organizations: NGH, ICBCH, IACT, IHF, NFNLP, and so forth. And she's one of my favorite speakers to listen to. She's never boring. She always has great new thoughts and new ways of looking at things, and lots of laughter and energy. And with that, um, I'm going to turn her over to you and let you enjoy. Now, Karen, do you want them to hold questions? Do you want them to put them in the chat? Um, what way would you like to go?
Let's play together in this time we have together. So if you want to speak up, please do so. I don't think trance is very fragile. So even if we are in a trance state, we can talk about something and go right back into trance. So if you've got a question, blurt it out. You can put it in the chat if we're in the middle of something. And Cheryl, you blurt it out when there's a pause and we'll get to it. How's that? So
That's perfect.
let's play together here because, yeah, I could easily talk to you for an hour and a half, but I want to play with you today because we're practicing happy, practicing happy.
I started up there, but I just didn't like that. I couldn't get my body in the, I done too many at the one.
Now,
Nancy, never mind, I got her.
okay, thank you.
And Karen, I'm going
Yeah,
to give you a co-host too if you need to.
okay,
There you
thank
go.
you. I would ask that if you're not asking a question or if we're not interacting, to keep your mic off because that ambient noise derails some things. So, if you can keep that in mind, if you do talk, by all means, join us and then mute yourself after you talk. The other hint is my dog is enjoying this session with us. And if your dog barks, he will too. And then we'll have a cacophony of chaos. So let's start playing right now. What we're talking about here is mind magic. I don't for a minute believe that hypnosis is magic, but I for every minute believe that our minds are magic. And we can do magical things with our minds. So let's play some mind games while we're together today to help us get through the holidays when stress, chaos, shopping, worries, family issues come up. You'll have some techniques. And if you practice them between now and the time that you meet up with one of these stressors, this will be embodied learning. Okay? So, first of all, let's talk about holiday stress. I want you to think about for a moment something that stresses you out during the holidays: buying, family, whatever it is. Think about a holiday stressor. Think about it for a moment and rate it on a scale of 0 to 10. If that stressor for you is a 0 to a 5, you only need one hand for this technique. If the stressor is 5 to 10, you'll need both hands for the technique. You don't have to say what it is. You don't have to tell anybody what it is. Just think about it. So everybody have your stressor and you've rated it. So if it's a 0 to 5, you'll need one hand. If it's a 5 to 10, you'll need both hands. So put your hand or your hands up like this facing you so that your palm is facing you. And I want you to look at your hands as you're thinking about that stressor. Look at your hands, maybe in a way that you've not looked at them before. Notice your fingers and the lines in your palm. And as you're thinking about that stressor, make a circle with your thumb and your first finger. Just make a circle. And as you're thinking about it, ready to let that stressor go now, roll your little finger and your ring finger down into your palm and let the stress go out of that remaining digit. Just let it go now. That's right. Let that stress go. Adrian, Would you unmute yourself for a moment? I saw you laugh, my friend. What made you laugh?
What was left?
And how is your stress now?
Well, I don't really have a lot of, my parents are gone. I have no siblings. I have no kids. I live alone. Um, I don't do shopping. So I don't really have holiday stress.
But you played along, you came up with something, and when did the stress evaporate?
Probably when there was a middle finger that I recognized, and then I just fell out.
Thank you very much. And therein lies the answer to that stressor. The moment, the moment you recognized what I was getting you to do on camera in front of people, you laughed and the stress went away. Laughter is, after all, the best medicine. Now, there are some layers to that technique. For one thing, you are thinking about, you are focusing your attention on the stressor. Then you are dissociating from it, looking at your hands, thinking about it, and then doing something else with your conscious mind. Making a circle with your thumb and your finger, that gives your conscious mind something to do. We're playing a game, so you weren't using much logic and reason anyway at that point. And then as we went on through it, and you recognize, ah, yeah, that's funny, and you let it go. Here's how you can use that post-hypnotically. The next time you're in traffic and you flip somebody off, before you get all white knuckled or angry or mad and hold on to that anger all day long, recognize that you just released your stress. Oh, that's right. I just let it go. Because that's what you're doing, just releasing and letting it go. Now, you don't have to flip anybody off. All you have to do now is just think about it. And when you think about it, it can allow you to smile and you can say, figuratively, or literally, I just let it go. Now, if you're not I just want you to know, by the way, that you have a lot of nonverbal suggestions right here in your hands. You aware of that? Your nonverbal suggestions. So, um, when you like something, what do you do to signal to somebody that you like it? It's good. That's good. That's right. I got a thumbs up right away. Okay, I got an okay too. There's one. Okay, that's a nonverbal signal, isn't it, Adrian? Typically, oh yes, jazz hands, Cheryl. That's right, jazz hands. There you go, right on your hands, giving nonverbal peace. Then he's giving the peace sign. This is good, right? This is not so good. So if you want to point someone out, point to somebody on the screen that you really are interested in. That's right. Now, point to the favorite person in this meeting. Point to your favorite person in this meeting. Why weren't you pointing this way? Shouldn't you be your own favorite person? Weren't you born to be your own favorite person? Don't be afraid of being your own favorite. That's what we're put on the planet for, is to fulfill our desires, fulfill our needs. So this finger is the I want that, or I'm into that, pointing something out. Now, we already learned what that other finger's about. That's the stress release finger. This finger, right, clearly points I'm not available for a date. I am not available for a date. Okay, there's the purpose of that one. And this finger, oh, when you're having tea, this finger shows how fancy you are. Okay, just a couple of silly little notions about how you're giving nonverbal suggestions. And we are at all times giving and receiving nonverbal suggestions. As a hypnotist, be observant of the nonverbal signals you're giving and the nonverbal signals you are accepting. Now, before we move on from this, I just want to say some of you are not as risque as I am. Some of you would never, even in the privacy of your own mind, flip somebody off. So Cheryl's not like that. But so if you are a little more tender than I am, here's a great instant stress reliever. So I know Adrian doesn't need this, but if you come across something that stresses you out during the holidays, you can easily roll your eyes. And if you do it with intention, you can practice this and it becomes instant for you. So do this with me. Roll your eyes up in your head. And as soon as you feel the burn, keep your eyeballs up, but close your eyelids down. Close them down. Taking a deep breath, and as you exhale, relax your eyelids. Now taking another deep breath, and as you exhale, relax all the rest of the muscles in your body. Just let them go. And now, as slowly as you possibly can, open your eyes. How does that feel for a stress interrupter? You know, your kids roll their eyes at you all the time. Why not roll your eyes back at them? Or anybody else who gets in your way or stresses you out. Up, down, breathe. The eye muscles are the tiniest muscles in the body. They stress out quickly. So when you look up like that, they'll stress quickly. And as you close your eyelids down over your up pointing eyeballs, that's another stressor. It's asking those muscles to do a lot of stuff. Take in that breath, and the eye muscles want to relax. They will relax quickly and easily, and then they become a model for the rest of your body. The next inhale and exhale allows the rest of your body to model what they have just seen the muscles in your eyes doing. That's such a quick and instant stress reliever that if you're with your family, as an example, and somebody's getting on your nerves, you can do that right where you sit. And if you want to turn your back so that nobody can see you do that, you can do that too. Or when you practice this, when you practice it and use it when you need it the most, what happens is the brain can just imagine it. You can just imagine doing that and relaxing. That is so quick and easy that you can do it at a stoplight. Now, I don't recommend you do it at a green light, but if you come up to a stoplight and it just turns red, you can put your car in park and relax before the light ever changes. You can do that as you're waiting in line at a shopping mall. Those are things that you can do anytime, any place. The only caveat to self-hypnosis is remembering to do it. But the more you practice happy, the more you practice doing these things when you need them or when you don't, when you just practice doing it, the more embodied the learning becomes. The more you default to these games, because you know what? Stress is just a mind game to begin with. Stressing about what's happening, what's going on. Stress is a mind game. There are only 3 ways to effectively handle stress. Stress is an emotion that shows, oh my gosh, I've got too much to do and not enough time to do it all right. That's what stress is. I've just got too much to do and not enough time to do it well. So the 3 ways to effectively deal with stress is to say no, prioritize, or enlist help. Those are the 3 actual, real ways of dealing with stress. Say no, enlist help, or prioritize. If you've got too much to do, if you scale back on the doing a little bit, rather than making all of the ribbon red, use any ribbon that you've got to decorate your package. Perfectionism says it all has to be one color. That's what causes the stress, right? So you can back down on that. You can prioritize. I'll put pretty ribbons on half the packages. Or you can enlist help. Your husband, the kids, whomever, help me wrap these packages. Then the stress, in reality, melts away. If those aren't your options at the moment, you'll do a different mind game to help you get that equilibrium back. Is that making sense to everybody? I believe that hypnosis is BS. So is NLP for that matter, y'all. Hypnosis is BS. Belief system. Oh, I know you thought I could have been talking about something else because of that first little technique that we did. But in this case, BS is belief system. And belief system is required for all mind games. You have to believe it for the mind game to even take hold. Adrienne told us earlier that she doesn't really get stressed. She's not playing that mind game. So that's another part of what hypnosis is. Hypnosis happens. Remember, you might have different beliefs about this. Keep your own beliefs. All I can do here is share my BS with you. And in my BS, we are always constantly filtering suggestions. Hypnosis in my BS happens when a suggestion is accepted and then turned into a belief. It's when a suggestion is accepted and then turned into a belief. Otherwise, it's just free floating ideas. It's just free floating ideas. You have to take the idea or the suggestion and turn it into a belief. And that's where the hypnosis happens. In my belief, hypnosis doesn't happen magically when I'm saying pretty words to somebody. It doesn't happen when they keep their eyes locked. That means that, yes, they took the suggestion to keep their eyes locked and relax. But it doesn't mean that they won't change into another belief system with the next suggestion you give. Every single moment of every single day gives every single person in their own mind the option to accept a suggestion or delete it. Bob Burns came up earlier before the meeting started, and I love this analogy from Bob Burns. It really changed things for me when he pointed out that hypnotic suggestions work like this. Some people take them, some people don't. So what? You're observant. You're watching. As we hypnotize on purpose, our job as a hypnotist is to observe our client and make sure that they are continuing to accept the suggestions that they're given. And if a suggestion is not accepted, we move on to anything else. So we are constantly monitoring the trance, monitoring the interaction, and reacting to the feedback. But you know what? Suggestions are free floating in our world all the time. All of the clients that I see are seeing me because of a suggestion they accepted from somebody else some other time. Unless they think they are perfect the way they are, because that's the way we come out of the birth canal, absolutely clean slate, perfect, and then we start customizing ourselves for ourselves. Unless my client thinks they're perfect, then I know that they've taken a suggestion that just isn't true. They've accepted a suggestion that we can break down and unravel so that they come back to that feeling of being all right, just the way that they are. Hypnosis happens when a suggestion is accepted. So let's just look at that Elman technique for a moment, because here we are in the Elman Cafe. So I'm assuming, you know what happens when you assume, I'm assuming that many people know the Elman technique. Let's just take the very first element of the Elman technique, the eye lock. So go ahead, do this with me, just for fun. Close your eyes and relax your eyelids so much that they just don't work. Just relax them so much that they don't even want to work. And when you've convinced yourself that you've done that, check them. Give them a check just to make sure. That's right. The eyebrows work, other things work. Just now send that relaxation all the way down to the tips of your toes. And when you've done that, come all the way back and join me back here. Now, Jim, let me ask you. It looked like your eyes popped open, which is just fine with me. Did they? Did your eyes open when I said check them? Jim?
Yes, this.
Okay, so I want to play with that for a moment, if you don't mind. So I have given the suggestion to relax your eyelids so much that they just won't work. And then I said, check them. So if you don't mind, Chem, let's do it exactly the way you did it a moment ago. Everybody look at Chem for a moment. Chem, close your eyes, your eyelids. Now relax your eyes so much that they just won't work. Relax them so much that they just stay closed. When you've convinced yourself that you've done that, check them just to make sure that your eyelids stay closed. And this time they did. Send that relaxation all the way down to the tips of your toes. When you feel that relaxation all the way down the tips of your toes, you can slowly open your eyes and rejoin us back here in the room. That's right. Did you feel that relaxation go all the way down to the tips of your toes? That's right. I want you to know that Jim took those suggestions all along the way. Now, I thought I saw him open his eyes when I said check it, which in my office is perfectly okay. When I first learned the element, it scared me to death. Oh my God, what if their eyes pop open? Until I realized that's part of being a hypnotist. So if their eyes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was trying to write down.
Oh, you were trying to write it down. Okay. I don't have the Elman technique as part of the handouts, but I will give you a link to some of the handouts, and I'm sure Cheryl will include the Elman technique in this for a follow-up. If I'm saying I'm sure, I don't know. I looked for a nod, and she said yes, so we'll see what happens. I'll help you remember that too, Cheryl. So here's the thing. I gave the suggestion to close your eyes and relax them so much that they just won't open. And then I waited. Then I did some other pattern. Just relax them so much that they just don't even want to work. And when you have convinced yourself that you have done that, check them just to make sure. And then I wait. And if the eyes pop open, I look my clients right in the eye and I say, that's right. You've just proven to yourself that you are always in control. I'm not doing something to you. You are always in control. But now I want you to notice that the eyelids are very tiny. They relax very quickly. And in order for the eyes to open, the muscles have to tense up to open the eyelids. So I was asking for relaxation. I was asking to relax your eyes so much that they wouldn't work. And instead, you went for tension. You opened them back up and you convinced yourself that you are the only one who can do this. I can't do it for you. So, would you like to try relaxation this time? Excellent. Let's do it again. Close your eyes and this time relax them so much that they don't even want to work. Just relax them so much. That's right. Now send that, when you're convinced that you've done that, check them just to make sure. That's right. Oh, look at everything that's working. The eyebrows work, everything works, but your eyelids stay closed. They're fully relaxed. Now send that relaxation all the way down to the tips of your toes. Oh, that's right. Now, when you feel that relaxation all the way down there to the tips of your toes, bring it all the way up to the top of your head. And when it's bounced up there to the top of your head, open your eyes and join us back here in this room. All the way up to the top of your head, bringing you all. That's right. That works perfectly. Thank you, Jim. We just had you focused on there and we got to use you as a demo subject, and that was wonderful. Notice how I took the feedback. Originally, if they open their eyes, take the feedback and tell a story or do anything else. What I choose to do there is tell an explanation of what relaxation is and what we together are going for. And I always add in, I can't do it for you. Only you can do it. And here's what I know. Some suggestions are taken, some are not. You work with the ones that are taken. So I'll give it one shot, if the eyes pop open, to move on into a convincer. That's right, you're doing this for yourself. And that's the way hypnosis is. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So if you don't mind, let's go for relaxation this time. I got a nod and we went on. So that was taking the feedback and we tried it again. Thank you, Jim, very much. Now, you notice when we were really focused on him, how he checked it and we could see some movement there. That was feedback to me. I see movement. I'm going to call it out. Oh, that's right. Everything else moves, but your eyelids are so relaxed. Now send that relaxation down to the tips of your toes. And then I just wanted to play with him. So I said, now send it up to the top of your head.
Thank you.
Because
Jen
now,
was going to say something,
yes,
Karen.
Jen, go ahead,
So
please.
No, I say thank you.
You're very welcome. The point is, when we observe and take the feedback, if a suggestion is not taken, so what? Move on to anything else. Or if it's important to what you're doing, offer an explanation and you can try it again. I tend to move on, except on the eye closure. But that's one way of guaranteeing that you will have success. Always watch for the feedback. And if a suggestion's not taken, nobody failed. Here's another little tip I like to give hypnotists. I know this isn't specifically for hypnotists, but I'm going to throw this in while we're here. Another little tip I like to give to hypnotists is when a suggestion doesn't land, don't worry about it. As a matter of fact, I quit giving suggestions a long time ago. Now, I wrote the book Magic Words and Language Patterns on exactly how to frame a suggestion so that it lands. I still believe in that, but I don't really throw out suggestions willy-nilly. I throw out ideas. Now, that's my self-hypnosis mental framing. I throw out ideas because we're collaborating. We're doing this together. So I throw out an idea, and if they don't like the idea, they'll tell me something else, or they'll suggest something else, or we'll go on to something else. I had a client who wanted, a woman in the office, her voice just drove her crazy. And she came to me to fix that. How can I deal with this woman in my office? The first thing I thought of was NLP submodalities to work through this. And I do most of my hypnosis conversationally until the very end of the session. But I asked her, so that voice, if you could turn that voice down and make it real slow, how would that be for you? And she said, oh God, that would just prolong the agony. And I said, that's absolutely right, man. Don't ever do that. What if she were a cartoon character? And the client said, I don't know cartoons very well. And I said, yeah, tell me about a person whose voice you love. And she said, oh, my aunt. My aunt has the warmest, sweetest voice. And I said, this is going to sound really silly, but point to where you store your aunt's voice. And she said, oh, right here. And I said, and where do you store that awful voice that you can't stand? And she said, oh, it's over here. And I said, I'm just curious, what might happen if you put your aunt's voice between you and that other voice, and you always heard your aunt's voice instead? And she said, well, that changes everything. So I tell that story because I want to point out to you, the woman told me an issue. I had an idea of what we might do, what mind game we might play to unravel the issue, and I threw out an idea. What if we made it slower? Oh, God, no. I didn't make a suggestion. I didn't say, then turn it down, make it slower. That would have been a direct suggestion that would have interrupted our rapport. Instead, I said, what might happen if you turn it down? Oh, God, that wouldn't work. And I joined her right where she was. Oh, that's right, man. Don't ever do that. So what if she was a cartoon character? Notice we're still collaborating. I'm just still throwing out ideas. What if she were a cartoon character? I don't really know cartoons. That's right. So tell me about a voice that you love. And she did. That was the suggestion she took. And she told me right where it was. She could point to where it was. She knew where the other voice was, and she overlaid the pretty voice. That's the suggestion that worked. But when I threw out, how about if we turn it down? And she went, oh, God, that would prolong the agony. I didn't sit there and went, man, did I screw that up? It was just a suggestion that wasn't taken. So what? Move on to anything else. And since I wasn't giving her suggestions about what to do with her life, I was just tossing out some ideas to see what might work. We were working on this together. There was no point that she thought I'd tried two techniques on. She never thought I'd tried two techniques on her that didn't work. We were just talking. And when I found the one that worked, later on when we did the eyes closed hypnosis process, that's the one I used. I didn't go back to what didn't work. But as the eyes are open and we're just having conversation, I want you to understand she was in hypnosis. What trance are y'all in right now? What trance are you in right now? Elizabeth, would you mind answering that question for me? Would you unmute and answer that question for me? I know you didn't raise your hand, and I'm just randomly calling on you, but thank you, Elizabeth.
Well, I was just trying to imagine that with someone else and how it would happen. So I am trance of trying to get it right.
Yes. Yes, I mean, we're not all in that same trance, but Elizabeth, yes, you just found the trance that you went into spontaneously without any suggestion from me. You were listening, you were playing along. Everybody on the screen is pretty much in the learning trance or the participating trance at this point. And Elizabeth heard an idea that she liked, and she thought, well, let me examine this a little bit more, and went right on into her own trance. When I asked her about it, she just unmuted herself and told us about it. Trance isn't fragile, but it didn't stop you from going into that trance, did it, Elizabeth?
Right.
Because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. The suggestions are taken, will then be utilized as necessary. Thank you, Elizabeth, very much. I am in a teaching trance right now, right? We're all in some kind of trance. When we go to church, Cheryl said she went to church earlier this morning. She was in a trance state of going to church, which is different than had she gone to a bar with her girlfriends last night. That's a whole different trance state. If we're going to school, we go into the school trance. We go into the driving trance. We go into the shopping trance. We go into the holiday chaos trance. And the more we can recognize that this is a trance state that I am in, and trance states are easily changed, the easier it is for us to change them. Now, a lot of people think change takes a long time. Boy, is that ever a human construct. Humans like to talk about change is hard. It takes so much time. It takes so much effort. Oh my goodness. That's a human construct, and stop it. Change is the easiest and most natural thing we do all day, every day. How many times have you changed your mind? How many times have you changed friends? Have you ever changed your address? When you're driving, do you change lanes? We're doing change things all the time. I'd like a show of hands, if you don't mind. How many of you changed your underwear today? Thank you very much. That was easy, wasn't it? We change things all the time. We change locations, we change rooms, we change stuff all the time. So why do we go into that human construct trance of change is difficult? The more we can say change is easy, the easier change becomes. And here's how change really happens. Change can happen through repetition. Remember when you were little and you and your parents got up to a street and they grabbed your hand and said, look both ways before crossing? You could get killed by a car. They were giving a direct suggestion. But you were little. They didn't necessarily expect you to get it the first time. So the next time you crossed a street, they grabbed your hand and said, look both ways before crossing. And then you cross. And then the next time they did it, and the next time they did it, and you probably don't remember. But fortunately, at some point, you got it. And when they no longer had to worry about whether or not you got it, when they believed that you had taken the suggestion to look both ways before crossing, they stopped grabbing your hand. They were observant and they stopped grabbing your hand. Now, again, a show of hands, how many of you look both ways before crossing? Is it instinct? Do you do it automatically? That was learning through repetition, and that change happened. Ted, yes, I see your hand up. What would you like to say? Ted, is your hand up? Oh, I see your hand up. I'm sorry. I thought you wanted to add something here. So that's what.
I just
Oh,
want to say, I want to say, if you travel to other countries and you have learned to look both ways before crossing, when you travel to a British country, when you have grown up in an American country, you look the wrong way first and you
Right.
just about get killed. So
That,
you have to totally redo that, um, and teach yourself a whole new belief system on how to cross the street
but the
when
longer
you
you,
are.
if you stay there for just about a week, you probably don't change your habits. But if you stay there for any longer, you will retrain yourself to instinctively look the other way first. Will you not, Cheryl?
We kept switching countries, but we were about 7 weeks, no, about 9 weeks in opposite way countries. Um, and the countries kept switching. No, I think it's so ingrained on me, I still would have a hard time. But it's interesting because when we got back, Larry had a car accident within the first few days because I think he looked the wrong way first,
And
crossing the street
and that's
with his car.
leverage. That, by the way, is great leverage to learn the other way. And yes, I know there
Right.
are countries who drive on the wrong side of the road, and sometimes we visit those. And sometimes they visit us, right? They think we drive on the wrong side of the road. Either way, if you are there long enough, if you're living in that environment long enough, you will retrain yourself to instinctively do it the other way. People who switch countries and switch languages have a tendency to change their thinking and think in the language that they're residing in at the moment, or think in the language that they're talking to the person at the moment. That is training through repetition, through repetition. There is another way that change happens instantly, just like that. I had a girlfriend who was actually quite famous for, as soon as a yellow light came up, she sped across the intersection because her belief system, her BS was you've got to beat the light. So when the yellow light came up, she took off until the day she took off just a little late, and the light turned just a little sooner than she thought it would, and she was T-boned in the intersection. She was okay, by the way, but her car was totaled. She was without a car for about a month and a half. And instantly after that encounter, she no longer ran yellow lights. Driving with her now is a very interesting experience because she slows down and she stops at intersections now. That change happened instantly. So change can happen in an instant. Change can also happen through repetition. The moment you take the suggestion that change can happen instantly, you can make change happen. And remember, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, so you are doing it to and with yourself. If you actually accept the suggestion now that change can be easy, change will be just as easy as you want to make it. All of these things are mind games. Looking both ways. Oh, I can't change the way I look because it's instinct. Well, that's a mind game. That's self-hypnosis. That's something you are telling yourself and holding on to that belief. You get to hold on to your beliefs as long as you want to. But the moment you notice a belief isn't working for you for whatever reason, temporarily or over the long haul, change it. That's within your wheelhouse to change it. It's just a trance. What happens if you say to yourself, it's just a trance? Here's an interesting thing about trance. It's football Sunday in America. And so there are people all over the country watching their favorite teams, cheering them on. There are people out in the wild, some of them in cold weather, shirtless, with their faces painted, cheering on their teams, having an ecstatic time. We call that an ecstatic trance. Have you ever thought about an ecstatic trance? Boy, we go into the stress trance, we go into the learning trance, we go into all sorts of trances all the time. The ecstatic trance is one that is often dampened for people. One that is often dampened. I mean, you can be happy in a nightclub, you can be happy at a dance party, but boy, as soon as you go to an airport, turn the music up loud and start dancing in the airport, somebody's going to come over and say, what's going on? Because the ecstatic trance isn't allowed there. Isn't that a weird thing? That it's okay to be sad or depressed or unhappy, but it's not okay to be ecstatic? Let's eliminate that trance state right away, shall we? Let's just go ahead and be ecstatic. So I believe that old dogs can learn new tricks. I'm an old dog and I learn new tricks all the time. I just learned this technique a couple of days ago from Duff McDuffie, the ecstatic trance. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do some stuff with you here, but I think Cheryl's going to put in the chat room a link to the talk that I learned this from and just loved Duff's talk. Let's do some ecstatic trance stuff for the moment, if you don't mind. Can you stand up? Can you stand up? Wherever you are. I don't care if you're in the viewing screen or not, but just stand up for a moment. And as you're standing there, just bounce. Just bounce. You can bounce on your toes or you can jump, but just begin to bounce. Just begin to bounce. And as you're bouncing, just notice how your knees move and how your arms move. And from that bounce, if you just keep bouncing and let your body relax and move, notice where your arms can go and notice how loose and comfortable you can become and notice how good it feels. And maybe you will just notice yourself flowing, moving in the flow, just moving along and bouncing and moving your body and getting your blood pumping and woo-hoo-hoo. Let's do just that much for right now and see where we get. Who feels
We're
invigorated?
missing the music, girl.
Well, you don't need music. You can dance without music. You can dance to your own beat, your own drummer. So, who feels better after doing that? Why is that? Because we just got our bodies moving. We just got the blood flowing. So, that is an induction or introduction to a happy feeling. All we did for about a minute was bounce and let our body move and just let whatever happened happened. That is a great signal to the brain just to be happy. You're just letting go. You're just in the flow. Now, I don't know how you might use that. But before I came here today, I did the ecstatic trance. Before I sit down now to write, I'll take a moment or two and just get things moving, get into that happy state. I'm just curious what might happen if you're in a family gathering at the holidays, any of the holidays, and something starts getting on your nerves and you feel that your teeth gritting, that uncomfortable feeling start to come up. I wonder what might happen if you just break your own trance state and right there in the event, stand up. This is the way I would do it. I'm not suggesting you do it this way. I'm just telling you how I would do it. I would stand up right there and say, I just learned the most interesting thing. When things start getting heated, if we just stand up and create some ecstasy, it'll be a lot of fun. Hey, everybody stand up and let's just get ecstatic together. You think your family would go along? I don't know. You all went along. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to get up and go to the bathroom. Excuse yourself and go to the bathroom. Nobody ever questions that. Go to the bathroom and give yourself a little ecstasy. Go to the bathroom, make faces in the mirror. Give yourself a different trance. Only you can do it. Nobody can do it for you, but nobody can keep you from doing it either. The moment you recognize a state of mind, recognize it's just a trance. Trances can change. They change quickly and they change easily. So, what might happen if you just take a moment for yourself to do a little ecstatic bounce? Does that sound interesting to anybody? Anybody want to share? Yes, Christadora.
I had to adapt the way I was doing it because I'm recovering from a pneumothorax. So it just felt strange because I'm used to do it every time in the yoga classes, just like a way of breaking the state. And it's very curious how the mind is it's accustomed to act in a way, and then you have to just um, adapt what you're feeling, the way you're feeling, the way you are experiencing. So it was very curious to just feel it in a different way.
And now I want you to notice, Christodora, you did exactly what I suggested that we are always doing all the time. You took the suggestion and said, well, I can't do it exactly that way, but I can do it this way.
Yeah.
And that our clients, doggone it, are always doing their own work in their own head. Thank God. That's what it's all about. And you took the example and you adapted it to something that you could do and you could use.
And it's beautiful because that takes us to the ease of like I can I can adjust things to my own capacity and takes off the expectations that then after create a disappointment. Or sometimes people want to mirror and want to copy, and the fact that they have the freedom, it felt so good.
Oh my God, we're done. That was the entire message of the whole class. Thank you so much, Christodora. That's exactly right. We can always observe what we're going through. And if we don't like it, oh my God, we're hypnotists. We can change it. We can change it. We can change ourselves better than anybody else. And if you do hypnosis on purpose, I think most of what we go through is accidental hypnosis, where those ideas, those suggestions are just free floating and we grab them or we take them and we accept them. That's what happens most of the time. But when people come to see us as clients, they're asking for hypnosis on purpose. We still can't do anything to them. We still can't do anything to them. And here's how I know that is true. If we had any magical power to do something to somebody, all of us would be meeting around a campfire in Fiji right now. Because all of us who had that magical power would have gone to the lotto office. And when somebody cashed in their big Powerball winnings, we'd have put the whammy on them or the double whammy on them, and we'd have gotten them to turn over their winnings. You've never read about that happening, have you? You've never heard of that happening, have you? You never will, because that ain't the way it works. Okay? We're not putting the whammy on anybody. The great hypnotists are great observers, throwing out an idea, observing the feedback, and moving on from there. If the feedback is no, you try anything else. If the feedback is yes, you capitalize and you move on to the next element. That is what it's all about when we hypnotize on purpose. But we don't need any of that falderall when it's our own mind. In our own mind, we can observe it and do something with it. Now, some people like to wallow, and that's okay too. That's your choice. If you want to wallow in a feeling, that is also your choice, but recognize that it's a choice. If you want to do anything else, do anything else. So play another game with me. Right where you are, look around the room and find all the blue that you can find. But just the color blue. Find as much blue as you can find all around you. Okay, stop. Now just find red. Find all the red that you can find as quickly as you can find it. Okay, good. Now just yellow. Find all the yellow that you can find. That's perfect. Now just green. Find all the green that you can find. Excellent. Now you can stop. Now, who wants to play with me? Let me ask some questions. Raise your hand or so I can see you. I'm not. Okay, Ted. Let's go with you. Ted, and Elizabeth, you have too. I was looking for somebody that hadn't yet, but that's okay. Ted, I called on you
Vinny,
first.
you have Vinny also.
I called on Ted first, so let me go with Ted. Ted, if you'll unmute yourself for a moment. Thank, there
There
you
we
go.
are. My
Okay.
computer burped.
So when you went looking for blue, Ted, where did you find blue?
Well, I found it in the closet.
Okay. And when you went looking for red, where'd you find red?
straight ahead in my workout equipment.
And when you went looking for red, what happened to the blue?
I wasn't paying attention to blue anymore.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Now, did everybody read between the lines there? Ted was doing some amazing hypnosis. According to the Harry Aaron's depth scale, I don't put a lot of credit in depth, but we're going to use this for the example. According to the Harry Aaron's depth scale, the deepest levels of hypnosis are positive and negative hallucination. Positive and negative hallucination. All by himself, without me suggesting it, Ted created negative hallucination. When he went looking for blue, he found it. And then, by the way, when you all went looking for blue, you negatively hallucinated all the other colors. You just found what you were looking for. And the moment you switched colors, you negatively hallucinated the color you just found and knew exactly where it was, and the next color started popping out at you because you were focused on that color. Positive and negative hallucination is something that we do quite naturally all the time, whether it's on purpose or not. We positively and negatively hallucinate all the time. Now, I believe the way that happened is because Ted accepted the suggestion, first of all, to play a game with me. He accepted that suggestion, so we'd already bypassed the critical faculty because he was just playing a game. Everybody knows you don't need logic and reason or the conscious mind to play a game. So we were just playing a game. That's the first suggestion that he accepted. And then I said, look for everything blue. When you looked for blue, you gave yourself the suggestion to negatively hallucinate. You didn't need to find any of those other colors. You only had one intention. And then when you switched intentions, the other things came up. Now, Deb Yaffe earlier was talking about doing some work while she was here and multitasking. And I said, I'm going to take on that multitasking idea because this game actually shows that you can only focus on one thing at a time. The human brain is capable of focusing on one thing at a time. People who say they're multitasking have become very adept at switching from this focus to this focus, this focus to this focus, but you can't focus on two things at the same time. You can only focus on one thing at a time. Diane, are you disagreeing with me? I saw you shaking your head. Yeah. Diane McLaughlin. Oh, okay. I wanted to hear that. If there was an objection, I wanted to hear that right then. I didn't want to wait. So you can only focus on one thing at a time. Multitaskers have gotten very good at switching focus, but they're still not focusing on two things at once. And that is great information. Because now that you know, you can't unsee this piece of information. Now that you know that you can only focus on one thing at a time, if you notice your focus is on something you don't like, switch your focus. Just switch your focus. So if you notice that you're having a hard time with, right here in my office, I have lots of things that I have fun with. I have lots of little games. I've got a little guy back here. I don't know if you can see him. He sits on a table. His little legs move. I can touch his little legs and they'll bounce. He's got little magnetic things that go in his face. I can change his face, change the magnets in his face. It's just a little game that I like to play with. But if I'm finding myself unhappy, there is no reason why I can't turn away and just flip his little feet or change his little face. That's a little game that changes my focus. Doesn't do anything productive for me. It just changes my focus. If that isn't there, there are other things in here that I like. I'll just look around and find some of my favorite things in my office. Maybe I'll check with Zoltar and find out what he might answer to something right now. Got all sorts of little games. I've got my little dog. I've got colors that I like. I've got books that I like. There's all sorts of stuff around me. If you're surrounding yourself with stuff you hate, change that. Put some stuff in there that you like so that if you find yourself in a downward spiral or a negative trance, you can focus on something that you do like. Now, if it's difficult to switch focus back and forth that quickly, notice that all you have to do is notice that you're in a trance state that you don't like. And the moment you notice that, you will go looking for something different. Now that you have within your BS, your belief system, that you can't focus on that other thing anymore, you can go over here, that will change. Changing your perspective is powerful. Just a few nights ago, Jimmy Kimmel had a wonderful monologue about his band director who had recently passed away. It was sad, it was heart-wrenching, but he told a beautiful story about Cleto, his band director. When they were kids, they always were together. They did things together all of the time, except usually they did them at Cleto's house. Well, one time Jimmy Kimmel was having some family members over, and that was when he really wanted to escape and go to his best friend's house. But his friend Cleto said, "Hey man, can I come over?" And Jimmy said, "Oh God, why would you want to hang with the crazy relatives?" And Cleto said, "Oh," and he mentioned the aunt and uncle. And he said, "Because the way they argue, the way they talk to each other, that is some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen." And it was the first time that Jimmy Kimmel had the ability to divorce himself from the family trance and look at them as a couple of real people who were just doing funny stuff. Instantly, in that moment, Cleto, who was not a professional hypnotist, gave him a suggestion that completely changed Jimmy Kimmel's perspective and allowed him to focus on fun stuff. So, if you know that you have family drama and you know that Aunt what's her name is going to do this thing, and every time she does it, man, it just drives you crazy, why not turn that into a drinking game? Every time you hear her do that, you're going to take a sip. Well, now you've got a whole different way of looking at your aunt saying that weird thing. Now you've got something to look forward to. Now you just changed your focus from, "Oh my God, I hate that," to, "Ooh, that's going to be kind of fun." And you did that in the privacy of your own mind. Now, you don't have to make fun of your relatives if you don't want to, but you could say, "This makes me uncomfortable. That conversation makes me uncomfortable. Excuse me, got to go to the bathroom," and bounce a little bit and get my ecstasy back. Or you could say, check out in your mind. You can sit right there and just check out in your mind, negatively hallucinate the conversation and look at the cat instead. Look around the room and find if there's anything there that you like. Maybe you become super focused on the Christmas tree and you walk over to the tree and start looking for your favorite ornaments. You can play any mind game you want. It's your mind. Don't let other people hijack your peace of mind. You can only be hijacked if you accept the suggestion and turn it into a belief. That is within your control. Now that you know you're controlling your own trance states, you can also understand that you can change it into something different. So sometimes we do need defense. Boy, did I ever use this one. My mother and I had a pretty contentious relationship. And when I lived 850 miles away from my parents, but when I went home for the holidays, I could almost count the minutes before my mother got on my nerves. Poor woman, she didn't do anything to deserve that. It's just the relationship between mom and daughter that we had. But my mother did have a knack for pushing my buttons. She knew what would push my buttons, and she could do it every time. So I had to devise my own mind game to protect myself from her onslaught of negativity. This is the mind game I tried, and I want you to play this game with me if you don't mind. So close your eyes for just a second and just pretend that you are in a tube, any kind of tube. It's big enough for you, it's comfortable for you. Arrange the inside of that tube in any way that you really like. Use the colors you like, use the furniture you like, have everything there that you like. Inside of that tube, that is your personal place of refuge. On the outside of your tube, have it covered with mirrors, mirrors that reflect out. So if anybody walks up to your tube, they're looking into a mirror. Anything they say to you is going to bounce off that mirror and go right back to them where it belongs. Surround yourself with those mirrors so that anything that they're doing, looking, or saying goes into their reflection and bounces right back to them where it belongs and doesn't penetrate your tube at all. When you're comfortable with that idea, come on back and share with me. Helene, do you mind playing?
Not at all. Thank you.
What do you think about that?
Well, I just had an MRI, so I was picturing I was in the MRI tube.
Okay, you can make it a big room if you want. Okay, so you were in the MRI tube, and how was that?
Well, then you said make it any color you like, so I made it purple. And I actually put mirrors on the inside of the tube before you said to put it on the outside, so I put it on the outside of the tube and the inside of the tube. And then I thought, well, they're gonna get, nothing's gonna bother me. It's all gonna be reflected back to them.
How cool is that? And Helene just shared another use for that technique. If you ever have to have an MRI, close your eyes and make the inside of that tube anything you want it to be. Colorize it so that you can be comfortable there. Imagine that you're on the most comfortable, maybe you're on floating on water, maybe you're doing anything else. You know what? When you start focusing, Helene, thank you for that input, because when in an MRI tube, when one starts focusing on the fun that they're having, the comfortability that they're creating, putting in all of their favorite stuff, you know what you do? You negatively hallucinate those loud noises and all of that other stuff because you're playing a mind game that you love. Why?
Okay, add one more thing.
Yes.
When you were talking before about that, the negative hallucination, so I had an itch and not allowed to move. And I know too, I said, okay, think about your toe. Think about your toe. Your toe's not itching. You think about your toe. And then I didn't feel the itch. And I went back to check if it was still there and I felt the itch again. It's okay, think about your elbow, and then I was able to not worry about the itch. That was
How
good.
about that? Another beautiful example of the use of the knowledge that you get from the color game. Just switch your attention. I use that with clients often. If they have an issue with, let's say pain as an example, I might ask, how is your left elbow feeling? Oh, it's great. Great. Get into that good feeling of your elbow and let's get a feeling for how a good feeling feels. So that's the kind of thing that Helene did. Notice, quite by accident, well, on purpose, because she knows what she's doing, but creating a mind game that's better than reality. We've all created the reality that we're living in anyway. So why not just adapt your mind games to anything that feels better for you? And you don't have to tell anybody about it. Just enjoy it and enjoy what you're doing. So thank you, Helene. I'm going to upgrade. Is that up level? Up level my tunnel of mirrors or tube of mirrors talk to say, and then if you're inside of something you're uncomfortable with, how might one do it? Oh my gosh, when I hear things like that, techniques just start bundling up. What about somebody who's afraid of going through a tunnel, driving through a tunnel? Might they use a mind game there to construct a tunnel in something they'd rather be in? Might they paint a sunset or imagine a sunset at the other end or something like that? All of those things can be used. Now we've just developed a new technique for dealing with claustrophobia, have we not? All of this stuff, Ted, what was that?
I was just acknowledging what you were saying.
That is when we learn the foundation, when we learn the basics of what these techniques are designed to do, we can just go off and use them in all sorts of places. And the next time a client comes to you with an idea, remember they've made it all up. I'll quote Melissa Tiers here, all this shit is made up. All the stuff they bring to us is made up, and all the stuff we do to help them is made up. When we know that, then we can start to unravel these mind games that have created the uncomfortability. And as you start to unravel that, things fall away. In NLP, we call it generalizing. It generalizes out to everything else. So here's a way that I want you to use that kind of thing. Let me share my screen for a second. This one. No, that's not the one I wanted. Well, there's a nonverbal suggestions. We didn't need that one, but nonverbal suggestions on your hand, we're talking about. Try this one more time. There we go. Now you can see the BS rebuttal technique. Is that right? Cheryl, give me a nod if everybody, okay, you're seeing that. So I will give you this handout. Cheryl will put in the chat a place where you can go and retrieve this handout just as it is with the explanation and everything else. But I want you to play along with me as we're talking about this, if you don't mind. I call this the BS detector. So just like you see here, I want you to have a piece of paper, if you don't mind. Grab a piece of paper and make a big T on that piece of paper. Just draw a big T on your piece of paper. Write down any limiting belief that you have. Write down something that you're uncomfortable with or that you don't like or something that you want to change. On that top line, just write down something that is limiting you. Something you want to change, something you don't like. Now, in the left-hand column, I want you to put down all of your evidence that this is true. I'm going to be kind of quiet I'm just going to be quiet for about a minute because I don't have a really long attention span. So I'll be quiet for about a minute so that you can write down all of the evidence that you have in that left-hand column that your belief is true, is valid. And if you have questions about that, you can unmute and ask. I am particularly fond of this technique because I am a debater at heart. I was a champion debater in high school, and I learned a lot of great techniques from debate. So if you're not a debater, you don't like to argue, you might not find this is one of your favorite techniques, but it's great to work with clients. So now on the right-hand side of the column, right next to your evidence, I want you to write a rebuttal. Argue that. Offer proof to the other side. Offer an exception. As an example, if you say, gosh, I'm always late, write down your evidence. I was late for this, I was late for that, I was late for something else. And then on the other side, write down the times that you've been on time. Just argue with your evidence for a moment. Okay, let's talk about that a little bit. Again, Cheryl, I think we'll put in the chat room where you can get that handout if you want it and play with it a little bit more. It's got a little bit of the explanation there.
It's there twice. It's there about and I just put it in again, and it was up further. So I did it before the other one.
So Yvonne, you haven't spoken up. Do you mind if I call on you?
Yes.
Yes, you don't mind, or yes, you do mind?
I don't mind. I'll try.
So tell me, do you mind sharing your limiting belief with us? You don't have to.
It's overly complicated, but
okay, all right.
My limiting belief is that I am nearly 56, about to go for a change of career. I've been dabbling in hypnotherapy for a few years and other stuff, and I don't know if I don't know if I can make it. Well, simply.
Okay, so I don't know if I can make it. What evidence do you have to support that?
That I haven't been successful in getting paid clients. Got lots of free clients and helping me to develop what I'm doing, but nobody committing to giving me money.
Okay, what's another piece of evidence?
Uh, I haven't got a lot of time to do this because I've got a full-time job still.
Okay, so let's just take that first one if you don't mind. Have you been successful at anything else?
Yeah, my full-time career.
Isn't that interesting? So tell me about the success you've had with your full-time career.
I'm over 30 years in corporate affairs, working at an exec level, won lots of awards.
Do you mind, I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you mind, Yvonne, if we go back to 30 years ago when you first started your career?
Hmm.
Were you 100% successful that first day in your new career?
Probably not. I screwed up quite a few times.
Oh, you screwed up quite a few times, but what kept you going?
I'm a very determined person.
Oh, determination. So you said you screwed up a bunch. How did you handle the screw ups?
I admitted them. I
You did
admitted
what?
that I wasn't perfect.
You admitted you weren't perfect and that was okay, right? Did they ever give you a raise? Did you ever make more money along the way in that career?
I changed jobs to make more money
Oh, you changed jobs to make more money. What gave you the impetus to change jobs?
because I needed money to pay for my family and everything that they wanted.
And were you 100% successful in that new job right away?
No.
But but your determination probably played a big role in keeping you going. Is that right?
Yes.
And how did you turn that into a success?
I just kept going and didn't say no.
I'm curious what might happen if you begin now to look at this new career as a hypnotherapist or whatever you want to do next and apply some determination to it. Because when you were determined, you make the time to do it, do you not?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when your determination has you going and going and going, you prove to yourself that you are successful, do you not?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's stopping you now from applying that same determination?
So I'm not. I'm actually trying really hard to put my energy into where I want to go. And I've already just about signed a lease on a new premises. I've rebranded, found my where I want to be. I'm collaborating with my sister. That might be holding me back in some ways because she's not as positive and she gets down very easy. But
Have we
I'm
just discovered an issue that could be upgraded?
uh no, because I'm going to still be we're just sharing a space, so I will still be successful in our own right, but we'll
Okay.
be it'll be affordable because things are tight at the moment.
Have you opened up some possibilities
In
in
my head,
yeah, in your mind? In your
in
mind.
my head, I have.
And did the BS detector, where we started looking for what the belief system is and what the reality is, and what you have inputted into everything else, as we argued against the limits, did you
Mm,
find more opportunities?
I have to just keep remembering when I've had success and how that feels.
Did she just give herself a very successful suggestion? As you hold, what is that, Yvonne?
No, I'm just smiling because I know it. I know all this stuff. This is what I say to people, but it's yeah.
We all know all of this stuff, do we not? If we step back sometimes and observe our own mind, recognize that we're playing a game, then we can change the rules of the game. We can make it into anything that we want instead. Thank you, Yvonne, for letting me play with you. Does anybody else want to talk about what they experienced in that? Yes, Joanne.
I've been struggling with putting together the documentation I need to create an irrevocable trust. So on one hand, I'm looking at it as, oh, I'm going to do something to plan for my death. On the other hand, I'm doing something to plan for Anton, that's my son's legacy. And my limiting belief was it's hard to find the time to get the paperwork together. So in the other column, I said, make the time, carve out the time, do one thing a day. And then when you said, what have you been successful at? Well, I've been successful in carving out the time to do Facebook posts, do Amazon reviews, to write my book. I've carved out the time for all of that stuff. Why can't I carve out the time to get the paperwork together?
When you change the perspective from planning for your death to planning for Anton's legacy, does that change the leverage for you?
Yes, it does.
That is a mind game. Okay, let's all recognize that that is a mind game because oh my God, if we're talking about our death, I don't want to finish all my paperwork because that means I'm closer to death. Why would I want to do that? Oh, but it could happen at any time if I'm planning for Anton's legacy. Oh yes, I better get this done so that he will be set. That gives you a whole lot more leverage for getting it done, does it not?
Yes, it does.
And as you argued against your own belief that you don't have the time for it, you found all sorts of ways to create the time for it, did you not?
Yes.
So that is the gist of the BS detector. You're writing down the evidence you have for the belief, for the trance that you're in at the moment. And then if you take time to just look at all those statements and realize, wait a minute, I don't know, that's not 100% true. Oh, there's a little difference there. Oh, there's some way that I can do that different. Solutions start popping out to you. Ivan, how did that work for you? Do you mind sharing?
Not at all. I actually wrote down I'm not good enough, which is a nice core belief for most people. So they say. The evidence I took for that was some people didn't buy, but then I counter argumented that, but some did. Then I also wrote not enough experience, and then I wrote as the counter exec, but you get experience by doing.
So
then I was done.
That's beautiful. It gave you an argument and it opened up some possibilities for you, did it not?
Yeah.
And I want you to notice how you were playing the color game. I know it wasn't looking for colors, but you were focusing your attention, but nobody's buying until you actually wrote that down and put it in front of you and said, no, wait, that's BS belief system, because some people are. And when you focus your attention on the people who are, that makes you feel much better and much more in tune with what you're doing, does it not?
Of course.
And when you focus your attention on the people who do take your suggestions and do buy into what you want, doesn't it make it easier to do even more for the people who appreciate you?
Yes, ma'am.
Notice how the color game, which was just a foundational element, shows us that you can only focus on one thing at a time. So as you were focusing on the BS, the trance that was limiting you, and you argued against that, you found all sorts of opportunities to open up to you. How cool is that?
Thank you.
Will you do more now?
Of course.
Stay in touch with me, Ivan, and let me know how much you're doing. I love that. I appreciate that. Okay. So thank you very much for playing along. It's just a game. And the BS detector is helping you notice what is belief system and what can be changed. Now, this is great self-hypnosis. I believe that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And when I come up with ways to do something for myself, it makes me feel so much better. But I also use this same technique with my clients. When they come to me with a limiting belief, as they all do, I'll ask for their evidence. Well, how do you know that? Where did that idea come from? Wow, that's such an interesting way to think. And as we start to unpack that, as I start to argue that by asking questions like I did with Yvonne, have you ever been successful? Oh, well, God, yes. I've had 2 other careers. I've got jobs. The more she was talking about her success, you notice when I first asked, have you ever had success at anything? Oh, yes, I've had a 30-year career doing something. Then I was curious about money because she was wanting to make more money. Did they ever give you a raise? I got a new job to get more money. Notice how she went from down here to, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this, to look at how good I am. Simply because I was curious about those limiting beliefs. As we're curious with our clients about the truth in that belief, is it BS or is there actual evidence? Is there any other way that we can look at that? Things start falling into place. There is another great technique. I've got 2 more that I want to share with you, and so I'm going to do this next one kind of quickly. This is a fundamental technique that I use for a lot of things. It's just a simple whiteboard technique. So I want you to think about maybe the same one or a different one, limiting belief for just a moment. And close your eyes. This time don't want you to write it. I just want you to imagine it. Go ahead and close your eyes and pretend that you have a beautiful whiteboard in front of you, a crystal clear, clean whiteboard in front of you. Write that limiting belief up there on the whiteboard. Write that limiting belief up there. Now pick up an eraser or a rag and erase that limiting belief and clean that whiteboard. Now clean it perfectly, back and forth, up and down, up and down. And don't forget the corners. Get up there in the upper left-hand corner, go over there to the upper right-hand corner, go down to the bottom left-hand corner and the bottom right-hand corner, up to the top, up and down, back and forth, back and forth. When that whiteboard is crystal clean, sparkling like it was before, come on back and join me here. Are you still thinking that same thing that you were thinking? I see some no's. Diane, are you still thinking that same thing that you were thinking? Will you unmute? I didn't mean to catch you off guard. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me what's going on now.
I've just had a really difficult year and I'm feeling that I'm past my sell-by date, like worthless. Just
You're feeling, so did you write that up there?
Yeah.
And did you erase it?
I'm in the process of.
As you're erasing it, Diane, I want you to write a better feeling belief up on that board.
Yeah, okay.
Write a better feeling belief up on that board.
Okay.
And if you don't mind, colorize the letters of that better feeling belief.
Okay.
Make them bright and colorful.
Yeah. Red.
Okay, perfect. Add a soundtrack to it. Any uplifting soundtrack in your mind.
Okay.
And now make the letters dance. Let the letters dance on that whiteboard to your soundtrack. And you know, it's mind magic. So just imagine or pretend that that better feeling belief dances to that soundtrack off that whiteboard and into your head.
Okay.
Is it in your head now?
Yeah. Yeah.
How many times, Diana, would that have to swirl around in your head before it became a real belief for you? How many times?
Just a couple, a few times. I think because it's yeah.
Close your eyes. And a few times, let that swirl around in there to that better feeling soundtrack. Let those red letters just dance and pop and swirl around in there. And as many times, you said several times, you know, hypnotic time is very quick. So let it As soon as it gets swirled around that number of times, let that better feeling belief go all the way down your body into every organ, every corpuscle, every vein, every cell of your being. And when you've done that, have it come back up to the top of your head and come back out and join me.
Okay.
How does that feel to you?
Yeah, much better. Much better.
And how many times
Okay.
would you have to repeat that for that to become your new belief?
Oh, well, I went down with all the letters and then back up again and sort of all over, you know. So I'd say about 6 times.
And what would happen if you start every day with that?
That would be great.
And it only needs to be a few times. What if you start
Yeah.
every day with that for the next few days?
Yeah. Then it's just wake up and think it, and it's there.
So thank you, Diana, very much. That really
Thank
helped
you.
me. And yeah.
Thank you.
So I want you to notice something. I started with a very simple whiteboard technique. Very simple. We just have a pristine whiteboard and we can write something on it or we can just clean it. But back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, up and down, up and down, up and down, and into the corners. Get all of those corners really pristine. What have we just done? Anybody recognize EMDR there? Eye movements. It's any kind of eye movements that you've ever heard about. We're doing those eye movements. And those eye movement, the eyes, as you're pretending to wipe that board, the eyes work with you on that. They're erasing that thought. That's the foundation. That's the beginning. Okay? So the whiteboard is just an image, it's just a metaphor. Now, what Diane said was, okay, she wasn't quite there yet, so let's add something to it. What else can we put on that whiteboard? It's just a game. We're just playing with our imagination. Let's put something better up there. Now let's do some submodality techniques. Let's colorize it. Let's add a soundtrack. Let's have it move off the page and into our head. And then I asked her, how many times would you have to do that for it to become real for you? And she told me. If she'd have said 1,000, I'd have said the same thing. Hypnotic time is very fast. So allow that to happen 1,000 times in your head. And when you've done that, send it all the way down into your toes. Remember what we did with Jem at the very beginning with the eye closure? When you've convinced yourself that you're relaxing, send that relaxation all the way down to your toes and then all the way back up. We're just doing some very basic foundational hypnotic imagery. It's in the imagination. And Diane took this suggestion and allowed it to work for her. Now you can take that in the handout that I'm giving you. I believe that the whiteboard information is all there. I'll check and make sure. If it's not, I'll send Cheryl another link that she can put in the replay. I hope you don't mind that, Cheryl. Where you can, dancing letters is the technique that I did with Diane, which builds on the whiteboard. You got a client who can't sleep? Ooh, what if you had them construct a whiteboard? And on the whiteboard, imagine that they're writing the number 25, as big as they can write 25. And then they erase that number up and down, back and forth, get it really clean. And when that number's gone, pick up the marker and write the next number down. Write 24. And when 24 is written, erase it. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then write the next number down. And then you just let them do it. As you're falling off to sleep, if one chooses to do that technique, and I do it whenever I need it, the conscious mind is paying attention to the number and the next number that's coming up. Whether you're writing or erasing, are you going up and down? Are you cleaning? Is it clean? What do we do next? The conscious mind is just overwhelmed with things to do. And the subconscious mind is allowing that EMDR to work, erasing all of those worries and dropping off to sleep. I have never gotten past the number 12 before I'm off to sleep because I canceled out all of the other thoughts that were keeping me awake. And all of it is predicated on a mind game. Now imagine how you might use this when holiday stress comes up. Any of these things, you've got a number of different mind games that you can now play with your holiday stress. So when something comes up, you've got a couple of different games that you can yank out of thin air and use to help you the most. Was there a question? I heard something that I thought might be a question. So Cheryl has put in the chat a number of links to handouts, all of the things that we've talked about here. If you would also put in the chat, Cheryl, a link to a workshop that I have available to you if you're interested in it, Magical Hypnotic Script Writing Workshop. It's a 4-hour workshop that is on video that you can look at in the comfort of your own home whenever you want to use it. That is a sales item. And if you're interested in mentoring or advanced studies in hypnosis, I'm available for that too. You can find it on my website, KarenHand.com. And I've got a couple of
Give me a minute and I'll get those in there.
Okay.
Somebody had their hand up.
Yeah, do you mind if we take a couple of questions? Cheryl? I know that we've come to the end
No,
of our.
go ahead.
Okay, I don't
Go
mean
ahead.
to
No,
eyes
no
over,
problem.
but Ivan, what's your question?
Hey, Karen. So, when you were helping Diane out, you went to the visual one. Of course, the whiteboard is a visual cue. Did you already know she was visual primarily?
I did not. I asked and observed. Had she not been visual and hadn't been able to do that, here is my workaround on that, Ivan. You might, I didn't hear, but I often will say, and if you see in some of the scripts that I have probably on this at these handout groups, you might even see that I write, you might see it, you might hear it, you might feel it, or you might even pretend. And
Yeah,
that
just cover all of them.
Yep, that gives them the opportunity to do whatever they want to do. If I don't ask, like I didn't ask with Diane, she just went along. If I don't ask and somebody says, I don't know, I can't see it, I get to say, then you can pretend. You know, pretending works just as well in mind games as actually seeing it, feeling it, or hearing it. Pretending is what we all did when we were children. And neuroscience proves to us that pretense works just as well as actually living something. When they do an fMRI of someone who is angry, the same neural pathways light up as when they do an fMRI of an actor who is pretending to be angry. So pretending lights up the same neural pathways as actually doing it. So just go ahead and pretend.
So, am I hearing you're saying that if somebody says they have difficulty visualizing something, we can tell them pretend to visualize them and then they go there anyway?
You can tell them anything you want to tell them. Here's the reality, Ivan. I rarely argue this with a client. I'll just go with whatever they say. But the reality is we are all visual. It's just some people have the BS, the belief system, that they have to see it like watching television behind their closed eyes. And so they say, well, I'm not visual. You can argue the point with them if you want to by saying, well, gosh, how would you ever find your car in a parking lot? Or you can say, Ivan, tell me about your kitchen. Where is your stove in your kitchen? Where is it? When you walk into your kitchen, where's your stove?
Well, it depends which side I'm entering, but
Okay.
you have to visualize it to be able to tell it.
That's right. So you have to be visual because you already told me that it has to be, right? It depends on which way I'm entering. But that is a way to show that there are always pictures going on in your mind, whether they're under conscious awareness or not. So some people store their visual pictures underneath conscious awareness. That's okay. All they have to do is pretend. You don't have to pretend to see it. They can just know it. Sometimes they just know it, and that works just as well.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And there was another hand up. Was that? I don't see it now. Adrian.
Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian.
Hi, I was just curious. I raised my hand when you said the tube, and I had the same response as Helene with the MRI. I love MRIs. and that clicking sound, I am knocked out. Best sleep ever. But it made me think of someone who has a fear of driving because she got hit by a car, and then 6 months later she was hit again. So it's not just it's driving on highways, like regular streets. And I was thinking of the different techniques or the visual techniques.
Let me ask a different question about that particular client. What is her leverage for making the change?
Autonomy.
Okay, so she wants to be on her own. She doesn't want somebody driving her all the time.
Correct.
So that's perfect leverage. If that's true, does she really want to be autonomous?
Yes, she said she has been. She will drive. It just takes longer because she has to figure out the street way rather than highways. And
that to me would indicate showing herself a little bit more patience. That sounds to me like, and I would check this out, how much of a perfectionist trance is she in? Because taking extra time to make it comfortable sounds like something that we do when we go camping. We take extra time to pack the right stuff so that we'll be comfortable out in the wild. That's something that we take that we do to take care of ourselves. So she is taking that extra time because instinctively she knows that it may take a little extra time for her to be comfortable.
Yeah. And she did share that she did go to a hypnotist before and that it worked for about 1 year. And so now she's reached out to me just last week.
So what happened to make it stop working? Right? Because she already has indicated to you that she believes in hypnosis. I would want to know what the last hypnotist did so that I could replicate some of that because she already has a belief system there, right? So if the last hypnotist, what?
Yes, because it was like 5 years ago.
Okay, but was it just an eyes closed experience? Did she go through techniques? What happened? And then if she's into an eyes closed experience, definitely give that to her, right? But I would also ask what happened to make it stop working? Or when did it stop working? How did you know to stop being comfortable behind the wheel? How did you know? So I don't ever ask the why question, why did it stop? But how did you know to stop being comfortable behind the wheel after a year? And then she'll tell you what the trigger point was, and you can work on that trigger point. Does that make sense?
That's helpful. Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? Any other thoughts?
When you work with someone as a mentor, would that require your participant to record the sessions for you to review, or
so let me just say that the way my mentoring program works, it's up to each individual. So I have a variety of ways that I do it. Sometimes I will do it just on a case-by-case basis. If somebody wants to just touch base with me about a client that they're having, then we just do that as a 1 hour session. But if somebody wants extended mentoring or advanced training or work that way, we might do 3 sessions. We might do 5 sessions. That's more of a package deal. We might do a monthly check-in for a year. So it depends on each individual person. But yes, if you, Adrian, wanted me to watch your work, I do that in a variety of ways. I have a session where I'll watch you hypnotize somebody live on Zoom, or you can record it and we'll go back and look at it. Does that make sense? Any other questions? So there are a couple of non-hypnotists in the room. I would love to hear if this was helpful for those people who don't practice hypnosis on purpose. I'm looking at you. Give me a nod of the head. Thank you. The person I was looking at gave me the nod of the head that yes. Nancy Adair, what do you want to say? Nancy.
Hi there. I'm in the clay studio while listening. This has been wonderful. I was curious if you ever offer group supervision or group mentoring program, like you're saying, once a month for a year in a small group.
Here's the deal I'll make with you, Nancy. If you put that group together, I will do the program.
I'll do it. All right.
Yes, I will do group mentoring. Y'all, I got to be honest with you. You can tell by the games I play and the way that I do things, I don't really want to work that hard. But if you set up a group, I will show up. I promise you.
All right. I'm on it.
I look forward to it.
Thanks, Karen.
I think Penny, did you raise your hand also? No. Okay. All of the recordings that we did that you had given me are all in the chat. And I could also, so make sure that you look back. And I wanted to tell you that in December is Larry's birthday, and Jody Sahlberg has been collecting comments and recordings and stuff, when Larry had passed. She was really busy.
Oh, Cheryl, you just muted yourself. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie. You go ahead. Jody, I
Yeah.
just want to say, Jody, I just want to say if you want videos of Larry in his pajamas, and if you want videos of their dog being hypnotized, let me know and I'll send that to you.
Yes, we're going to drop a link. So Cheryl has a link for us, a Google Drive folder that I put together that anyone can go in and add to. We're going to be putting together a virtual celebration of birth and life for Larry on his birthday in December. And so, yeah, please contribute. We would love videos of him in his pajamas. I think that's fantastic. Thank you, Karen.
It's well worth it, let me tell you.
Yeah, I bet.
Great job. Thank you for doing that, Jody. That's a wonderful thing. I can't wait to see all that. Any other thoughts? Anybody else want to say anything? This is a cafe, by the way. Now we can just chat.
Yes, it's true.
Ted.
Yes, Ted.
I just wanted to share something that I recently discovered. There's an easy way to save the chat. If you go to the top of the chat, on the right-hand corner, there's 3 horizontal dots. You click on those, it opens up a menu, and one of those selections is Save Chat. And it'll save it to your hard drive for future reference, like finding links and things like that.
I just did that and it saved it to mine.
Yep.
I don't know if it saved it. I just did that and it said it did. So we'll find out if it saved it to the hard drive.
Yeah. And it does save to mine, but it doesn't necessarily go out with the recording. Sometimes I can't figure out. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't with Zoom.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now there's also if you're not signed up for the notifications for the Dave Ellman Cafe, let me think what it is. I think it's just b.link. I love using blinks so I don't have to remember big things.
Right.
And I do believe it is just Ellman Cafe. I think this is it. Whoops, not Cage Cafe. I think that's it. Let's see if somebody would click.
Vinny, do you have a question? It looked like your hand was going up.
Just wanted to say thank you for letting me join this class, Karen.
It was great having you here. I'm so glad that you did. Give your dad a hug for me.
I will, definitely.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Karen, thank you so much for this great wait a minute, I got to get back to here. That does by the way, open up so you can sign up for the cafe. So you'll get the notices. Thank you very much. This was a lot of fun, a lot of games, a lot of good techniques. And I can't wait to rewatch it. And also, I love the handouts. Those are going to be great. So, and you are always, you're always so giving and whenever you're doing anything. So, everybody, how about some happy hands there for her? Jazz hands.
You're welcome to email me, Karen@KarenHand.com, for feedback and let me know how great the holidays are going now that you're playing these mind games instead of that old awful.
I put my email in the chat for Nancy Adair if for the group mentoring. She's off camera, so I just wanted to let her know.
I hear you.
Thank
All right.
Thank you, Nancy. I look forward to that. That'll be fun.
Cheryl, where's
And
the replay going to be
yes,
posted?
it's a good question. I don't know if I'm sending it out or if I will be asking Jason how we're going to do that because he's working on my ClickFunnels thing. So I'm hoping that he sets up one like I had a few years ago on Kajabi, that they'll be listed there. But either way, in the next few days, either that or you'll get the link to it.
Thanks.
Okay, I'll be able to send it to the people. Now we're here. We could do one of two things. We could end, or the last one, we just split into a bunch of little breakout rooms, so you got to meet a few people and network. What's your thought?
This is Nancy. Because I'm in a public space, I probably wouldn't join a breakout room. I also couldn't find the last person who said they put the email in the chat, so I just put my email there. If you want to contact me, I'm assuming that's about doing some group work with Karen, which I would love. So thanks.
Thank you, Nancy.
Nancy, AEC3 at hotmail.com. AEC3 at hotmail.com. That's Adrian.
Where I can write either.
Oh, never mind.
I've got my hands in clay.
Oh, I see. Do you have her email, Adrian? You said yes? Okay. Oh, was that a yes? Was that a thumbs up?
I'm writing it down. It's in the chat.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thanks.
Okay. And would you raise your hand if you would like to get into breakout rooms and get to know a few people? No, not very many people. 2, 3, 4.
Sure, I see several. Yeah.
Okay. So, Karen, would you like to pop in and get to know a few people? Oh, did you have a question, Joanne, or you're raising it for the
No, Robert has a question.
No, actually,
Robert.
Robert has a statement. I wanted to thank you, Cheryl. And I wanted to thank you, Karen, for doing this and for so many great ideas. And it's just been wonderful. So
Just for the rest of the room, I'll say that Robert and Joanne are two of my favorite people. So I'm always thrilled when you show up. When I see you in the room, it always makes me so happy.
And we're
Thank
you
you.
can't tell, but we're both wearing green.
No, it doesn't look green. You noticed that I dressed for this.
Yes, you did.
Practice happy.
So,
The more you practice, the easier it is.
so for those that do not know Joanne and Robert, they always have matching outfits wherever they are. So,
Well-
and it's part of the fun.
Yes, but this time we don't have an exact outfit, so we're matching color.
Okay.
Joanne said green, and I put an outfit together.
My day is complete. Thank you very much.
You know what?
So,
My sweetheart loves to match, and my job is to keep her happy.
That's right.
Thank you.
Oh, look at that kitty.
Oh,
And that made
Ah.
Joanne's day too. They're cat people for sure.
That's nice. And this is one of the few times the Elman cat did not get up on top of the screen. It's because
Yeah.
I'm on a small little table.
Yeah, we didn't see any cat's ass this time, Cheryl.
Yeah, really.
We usually do.
Would you guys like to? I'm looking for the breakout room. There they are. For the people that are left, I could just break into a few and so you could chat, or there's 18 of us if you'd like to chat right here. But I think getting into a breakout room with just a few people, you get to talk to a few people and take maybe 10, 15 minutes. What's your thoughts? Yes? Karen, do you want to stay or do you need to
I
go?
will, I will stay until 2. I have to bail at 2. Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry. 3 years,
So,
top of the hour.
okay, great. So I'm just going to break us up into some breakout rooms. And let's see this. Uh, okay. Right, so I broke us into 4 rooms. There'll be 3 to 4 people in there, and I'll do it for doesn't doesn't show. There it is, options, and we'll do it for 10 minutes. Okay, and opening rooms. Have fun, get to know each other. See you back here. Adrian, hey, Ivan, Govind. Did
Hi,
you
I
want to
think I
go
saw.
in room 2?
Yeah, I can.
You want, you want me to move you?
Yeah, I don't know how to. No, this
Okay,
join
I'll move
breakout
you.
room. Okay, thank you so
I'll
much.
move you to I'll move you to uh, room 4.
Okay.
And if there's a thing that comes, there you go.
Hello?